Hello everybody, welcome to Benjamin's Kitchen. Today we're going to be making an eggplant pasta, and it's going to be a one pot, one pan recipe. So stay tuned, and if you like it, subscribe and find me on Instagram, Benjamin Eats. So go ahead and add some water to a pan or a pot. I have a pan here, and just get it nice and hot. Then you can go ahead and add your pasta. See, what I like to do with my pasta, I like to add just salt. I know people add salt and oil. I find you don't need the oil. It doesn't really make a difference, so I tend to exclude it. So here I got a little bit of salt going in, and what we're gonna do is just mix that all together. So once it's mixed in, you might actually want to put a little bit more water than I did there. Once it's mixed in, we can go cover it up and just put it to the side. Just let it heat naturally. So here I have my veggies. So we're gonna go ahead and just cut these up. So I have garlic. I'm going to use only about 3 cloves, some onions, and those eggplants are actually called Indian eggplants. They're just a little bit smaller. Actually, they're a little bit cheaper too than regular eggplants, and they're just easier to cut for me. One of the other things I do, I like to use these little cherry tomatoes. I find that they give a bite to it, right? So if once you bite into one, you get the natural juices from the tomato. I find it tastes a lot better in a pasta like this. So I've drained out my noodles, so just put it in a strainer, got rid of all the water. They're not fully cooked all the way through because we're gonna add them to the vegetables later. They don't need to be super soft. But once you have that, we can actually move that to the side too and start actually cooking our vegetables, because we're gonna mix this in a little bit afterwards. So put that back to the side and get yourself a pan or a pot, whatever's easier for you. This is a one pan, one pot recipe. I like using a neutral oil like avocado oil, and the reason being, avocado oil actually has no taste. Like if you use coconut oil, it has a specific taste. There's actually no taste for avocado oil, and it has a high burn point. So for all those people that actually put oils in their coffee, use avocado oil, don't use coconut oil. This way you don't have a taste. You really don't sense it in there. So we have our oil nice and burning hot. I'm gonna add my garlics and onions first. Really just want to get a nice little crisp to them before I add my eggplant. So garlic and onion first, and then the next step will be putting your eggplant in there. So you just want to get a nice little crisp on it, a little bit of a char on the outside. So let's go ahead and put those eggplants in. The magic of editing allows me to do this much more quickly than it actually took me. And the magic of editing allows you to see it a little bit more sauteed, so you don't have to wait. This took about 5 minutes, and we get to a point where it's going to be nice and charred and a little bit caramelized. So right about there. So that was about a 5-minute process on a nice heat. So not super high, between medium and a high would be the point where you'd like to cook this. And that's where you add in your cherry tomatoes. Again, I find that I like to have a bite of a cherry tomato, and when it bursts, it has this delicious flavor that you can't get from whole tomatoes that you cut. We're gonna add, I put about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. Just adds for a base layer, right? So it gives it a nice taste. And then this is optional, but I like sriracha, so I want to give it a little bit of heat. So I add a little bit of sriracha to make this a little bit spicier. I love my spices. That is how I eat. So that's an optional piece. And we're gonna mix that in. So what we're gonna add next is a little bit of spices. So I have chili powder, paprika, and a little bit of garlic powder. That's what I'm adding right now. And we're gonna mix that all in. And then comes about half a cup of water. So this is gonna make a nice little stock for you, because that's gonna reduce. So what you wanna do with that, again, mix it a little bit more, just so that the tomato paste binds with the water. Cover it up and just let it reduce on medium to medium-high heat. So this has been about another 5 minutes, and this is what it really looks like. So the flavors are really binding to all the vegetables. This is where the eggplants are starting to come apart a little bit. That's okay. We're going to be mixing it in even more so. But look at those tomatoes right there. They're nice and whole, so that when you bite into them, they got this delicious flavor. So I've gone ahead and I've grabbed my pasta. So I'm going to just mix that in there. If I can get it out of the pan. So my recommendation, don't use a pan, maybe use a pot after making this. I was making this for a bigger group of people. So yeah, go with a pot next time. That might be a little bit easier. But you don't have to use multiple cooking utensils. So you just need one. So mix that in. It's gonna get a little bit easier once you let it heat up. So this is while I've been cooking, so it's heated up a little bit, and I can mix it all in. And I did drop one, but it was on the cutting board, so it goes right back in. And then cover that up. It's gonna make it nice and soft. So again, everything's gonna sort of reduce the sauces a little bit in the bottom. And don't worry about it if the sauce isn't rising to the top, because what we're gonna do, we're gonna put it in a bowl, and that's when we can really get to mixing and making sure the sauce gets all over the place. And we have a secret ingredient to make it nice and creamy. So grab a bowl. We're gonna put this right in there, and my little bit of my secret ingredient, after again I get all the sauces from the bottom up. Get yourself a nice utensil, get it all up, scrape every last bit out. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add a little bit of pepper, and once that's done, also add a little bit of salt to taste. Just be wary how much salt you put in. Not too much. And the reason I say that is, at least in my case for this recipe specifically, the sriracha does have sodium in it, so you don't want to add a lot of sodium. So, and I know we added a little bit of salt and pepper beforehand. There's some on the pasta while it was boiling. So, and my secret recipe, right? This is the secret ingredient. It's vegan mayonnaise, so there's no egg in it. I believe it's made out of soybean. So I add 2 scoops of that. And that's what's gonna make it creamy. So party foul there. I think some of it's spilled actually on the cutting board. So that's where I taste test the vegan mayonnaise. But mix it in, and what you're gonna get is this nice creamy sauce. And that's why we don't have like a pasta sauce, because you wanna make sure it's creamy. You don't want it to be overpowering like a marinara or anything like that. That's why the water base is perfect for this recipe, right? So I couldn't be happier with how this is coming out. This feeds a family. And honestly, the ingredients are not too expensive, right? This costs about $6 to make, right? So we're gonna go on to the plating now that it's all put together. So grab a nice plate. I like white plates, so I have 2 sets of plate at home. The white is just for show, I guess. So it's one of those things where they take good Instagram photos. I know that's important to everybody, but every restaurant you go to, they use white plates, right? So go ahead and just put some of that on the plate. Just distributing evenly, making sure that there's tomatoes, eggplants on each plate. Again, those tomatoes are going to be delicious because I like to get a little piece of pasta with it, a little piece of tomato, and it just, honestly, it just bursts in your mouth. It's delicious. So now that we have that, we can garnish. So again, I got a little bit of parsley here. So just put that a little bit on top for a nice little garnish. and you're gonna have this beautiful plate to present to your family and friends. So a little bit of I guess a montage of what this is going to look like. So I'm going to bring it up in a second because now your plate's complete. So let's zoom in and see what it looks like. So your hard work. That looks delicious. Something you should be happy to feed your family and friends, right? No meat, but still delicious. So let's go ahead and taste test this. See how it came out. Let me get a little bit of the noodle. Nice piece of eggplant and a tomato. Get everything in one bite. A little bit of everything. Oh yeah. Let's go. Perfect. Thank you guys for tuning in. If you like it, subscribe, give me some likes, and I'll have something coming up on Wednesday. Take care.